Good morning, everybody. If you can hear me, clap once. If you can hear me, clap twice. This is a beautiful day in the city of Los Angeles here at our Bridge Home facility in Council District 8. Let's give a big round of applause to everybody who made this happen. This is a bright spot and a very tough problem that we all face, but history will record that we're facing it head on, and we're getting it done. And so, without any further ado, there's a lot of speaking to be done, but we are being joined today. Yes, I'm putting pressure on my speakers. They got to come through. We're being joined today, and I say this with all seriousness, and I say this directly to the media because the community already knows this. There is no other civic leader, there's no other municipal executive anywhere in the United States that has done more to end and confront homelessness in their city than our own mayor, Mayor Eric Garcetti. Somebody, you get that? Somebody's standing up on that. All right, and so I sat in his backyard a couple years ago, and I said, we said, Mayor, a couple of us, we said, Mayor, we got to do something between now and the time that HHH housing comes online. Because we passed the bond he let out in an effort to pass $1 billion bond for homeless housing, Measure HHH, the biggest investment of any city in the country for homeless housing. We said we got to do something in between now and then, because it's not okay to leave people on the streets between now and the time that those we'll be able to turn the keys in the locks on those doors. And he right away said we're going to do a program called Bridge Housing, and that housing is meant to hold people over until we can get permanent supportive housing for them. And so we're here today in Hyde Park with an example of that. And so I want you all to bring him forward with a lot of love. Our mayor, the leader of our city, Mayor Eric Garcetti.
Good morning. Good morning. Let me turn this a little bit into church, if I may. I know it's Monday.
We got Mount Tabor.
But I know Mount Tabor. It can be hard out there. It's hardest, first of all, for our brothers and sisters that are unhoused. It's hard. We got a city that has added more jobs than we've ever had before, cut our unemployment in half, more visitors, more investment. But there's too many people that got passed by as we've all been moving forward. It can be hard out there. But second, it can be hard in here. It can be hard working on an issue like homelessness, because who is responsible for homelessness? Is it the federal government when they cut our housing programs, or think that trickle-down economics will lift everybody up decade after decade after decade? No investment in public housing. The war on poverty just was a surrender to poverty, it feels like. It can be hard at the state level. We had ups and downs with our economy, when folks saw this as kind of a local issue and not a statewide one, but we lost our state affordable housing dollars. And it can be a hard one at the city and county level, when we're the ones who, as Supervisor Sheila Kuehl said, we're like the ones behind the horse at the parade. Like, we didn't cause it to happen, but we got to clean it up.
Yeah.
You like that, huh? There you go. I got one. I gave her $5 beforehand, so I appreciate you. And it can be hard for a community because your heart breaks twofold. For the people we know, and let's be clear, those Angelenos that are unhoused are people we know. They have names, they have families, they have histories, they have struggles, they have communities. But then your heart also breaks for how your community changes. When the curb becomes the home, when vehicles don't transport people, in fact, they don't move anymore, they are now where people reside. And so the double heartbreak of a city seeing that's not who we are, leaving our people out there on the streets, and that's not who we are. Our public space with this weather and this beautiful city should be something we look forward to every single day instead of being worried. That is why this is hard work. But I am so honored to do this hard work with all of you. I mean that. As your mayor, I couldn't ask for a greater privilege. We all wish this crisis wasn't here, but if I had to pick a group of people or a city or neighborhoods, faith community, government workers, the men and women who actually build this, because we come here when it's done, but there have been construction workers actually building with their hands this building, and they deserve a round of applause for what they've done. And a council member who didn't just talk to me, he was already leading. It was HHH that he authored. It was work that he's done organizing this community for decades. It was when everybody else, they had a line of council members, they said, who wants to chair the Homelessness and Poverty Committee? And 14 council members went like this. And Marqueece Harris-Dawson was there. But in fairness, this entire council, you might hear in the news now and again a protest or this and that. Every council member has stepped up and said, yes, in my backyard. But this council member said, not only yes, in my backyard, but how quickly can we get this done? And Marqueece Harris-Dawson and his team at CD8 have made this happen here today. So thank you for being that voice for the city and being that voice for this district. And then for all of you who, might have said, well, I do want this problem to be solved, but does it have to be solved right here? You opened up your hearts, you opened up your minds, you listened to the experts. Hopix, the finest organization working on not just changing people's lives, but transforming their lives, of making sure that we all have the ability to not only get off the streets, but come home. And to Veronica Lewis and her team, we have everything here that led people to say yes. 4 months ago, I wish we had a time elapse, because for the media it would be great tonight. Say 4 months ago and you see what this looked like? Many of you were at the groundbreaking. And 4 months later. Yeah. Don't tell me this isn't a problem we can't solve. Don't tell me we can't do things that will house our brothers and sisters. We can and we will, my friends, because any problem that's caused by human beings can be solved by human beings. So let me disavow people of the two poles. There are some people who on this extreme say, homelessness, I want it gone tomorrow. There must be something we are failing to do, you are failing to do. Snap your fingers, get it done, and I want homelessness to be eradicated. That's not how homelessness works. With 60,000 people in this county, it happens one at a time. We've built a machine that is working, that has been lauded as the model nationally. Went from 9,000 just 4 years ago, people being housed, to 21,300 last year. That is because of a heck of a lot of hard work by people who humanized our brothers and sisters on the streets, listened to them, figured out what they needed, and moved them forward. At the other extreme, though, don't give in to the hopelessness that this cannot be solved. It will be solved. We will house not just those that are on the streets today, but we will build an infrastructure long after we're gone to make sure that when somebody does become homeless, because people will become unhoused for our last breaths till any of us are around, we will be able to put them quickly back on track, or maybe even have a system that says, you're about to become homeless, what can we do to assist you before you hit the streets? Where we say, it's okay. And I hope our legislature passes 1482, which says you can't gouge people on their rents, because even though we believe in a free market, when people lose their rent, that costs us hundreds of thousands of dollars to get them back. So that we can say that people deserve counsel, so that they can make sure. There's so many great landlords out there, but the unscrupulous ones who will use a contract and put it before people that they don't have to sign, but they don't know because they don't have a lawyer that will give them the legal assistance they need so they don't become homeless. The interventions of, as this council member has led here, of fast response vehicles from our fire department who are there with a nurse practitioner, so instead of dropping off somebody with a substance abuse problem at the hospital and wait until they're sober and then dropping them back to repeat it, they actually intervene. And together with our supervisor, Mark Ridley-Thomas, we can open up a sobering center in South Los Angeles to drop them off there so that they can have the treatment that they need to get well. You see, this is a city of angels, isn't it? This is a city of angels whose wings have just begun to spread out. And this facility here in St. Andrews, We'll have 100 souls in the first iteration come into here. And they will be coming home for the first time in a long time.
Yeah.
A place where they can bring their pets and their partners and their property, where we don't say you have to split up from those you love or the animal that's keeping you grounded or the possessions that you have in order to move forward. A place where this city is reflected from our bus drivers across the street who say, what can we do to help jobs right here? Instead of saying, no, we don't want this, you're saying, yes, we embrace this, because that's who we are as Angelenos, and thank you for that. It's about a neighborhood council that was here for the groundbreaking and that's here for the ribbon cutting. It's about departments like our Bureau of Engineering and our General Services Department that did the hard work on this, because they said, this isn't just a mission for other people, this is our mission together. So today we celebrate, because it's hard out there, but when we see in 4 months how quickly we can do something like this, and tomorrow we've got another one opening, and in the next 12 months we've got 21 of these opening across LA. And HHH has, together with our other housing sources, get this number, 151 projects, not apartments, 151 projects in the pipeline and under construction right now. That's 13,000 bedrooms that are going to open up for folks that are living on the street. We say we not only can, but we will win this fight. I'll end with this, because I don't know if that fulfilled my quota or if you want me to keep going longer, council member, but I can feel the heat on your backs, even if everybody here is shaded. There's a poem that's written by Robert Browning that says, let a man's reach always exceed his grasp. And for our sisters here, it's a man or woman. Let a person's reach always exceed their grasp. In other words, we reach for things we might not always be able to hold. Think about those who fought for the end of slavery but died in chains so that their children would be freed. Think about the women who said we should be able to vote too, and went to Seneca Falls but never had the chance to vote in a single election. Think about farm workers who said we shouldn't have pesticides give cancer to our children, but died of that cancer while they fought that fight. We should always let our reach exceed our grasp, because even if we can't hold it, somebody will. I was asked today, what do you want to tell the next mayor, whoever that mayor may be, wherever they are? And I said, they're right there, whatever, yeah, there you go. I said, just know that you got to govern not about the headlines of today or the criticisms of tomorrow, but with your own conscience 10 years after you're out of office, saying, did we do the right thing? In the face of criticism, in the face of people saying no, did we do the right thing? And I know, looking at all of you today, we've done the right thing here. We're doing the right thing here. Let our reach always exceed our grasps. The second line says, after all, what is a heaven for? After all, what is Los Angeles for, if not that? Congratulations, South LA. Let's keep going. God bless you all. Thank you.
One more time for Mayor Garcetti. I thought he was gonna take up a collection in a minute. We're so proud and so happy to have him as our leader. We're joined now by our next speaker, someone who's been on the case around our unhoused neighbors before it was a headline in the newspaper, ringing the bell over and over again without ceasing, making sure that our community and our city knew what a crisis we were facing. And now we're so proud of her. I call her the general, because she leads an army of folks in the black shirts. Can all the Hopics outreach workers just stand up and wave their hand? Our next speaker is the leader of that force, and let me just tell you, this is anecdotal, but I think it speaks to the quality of their work. It is almost never that you talk to a homeless person that's been houseless for a while, and you say, well, did you get in touch with Hopics? And they don't say, oh yeah, someone from Hopics already came to where I was staying. They're out there, they're in the streets, they're up there early in the morning, late at night, whenever and however people need them to be. The leader of that movement, our own Veronica Lewis. Let's bring her up with some love.
Thank you. Good morning. It is definitely hot. We are so glad that you're here today to celebrate with us. We have been working countless hours, my team and I, to try to make this just a wonderful place for people to want to come. And so I just want to thank the mayor and the councilmen for allowing us to partner with them and all of the city departments. The city departments, they have been working sun up to sundown. We come here any day, anytime, and they're here. And so we are just so proud to be the operator of one of the bridge housing sites. And I just want to, I'll be quick, Councilman. All right, I'll be quick. All right. So for us, obviously, you heard the mayor say we'll be housing 67 men, 33 women when we're at full capacity, meaning that there will be 100 people here that we're responsible for. But for Hopix, it's more than just a shelter. For us, it really is a place of restoration. And so it's a place to restore a sense of, all right. Thank you, Ms. Bernice. It's a place to restore a sense of safety, because for many of these men and women who have lived on the street for months and in most cases years, they have not had a good night's rest in a long time because they've been in survival mode forever, not knowing what's going to happen when you're literally sleeping on the sidewalk. For us, it's also a place to restore a sense of dignity, because we have worked really hard, the mayor's office, the councilman's office, and all of the Bureau of Engineering and everybody, to not only aesthetically try to make this place beautiful, but my team and I have been thinking long and hard about how can we make this a place where people feel comfortable, where they feel proud to temporarily live here, where we provide support, and they really start to feel humanized again, because you're talking about folks who are stepped over, looked over, talked about, and so we want to restore a sense of dignity. This is also a place to restore a sense of hope. Many of the men and women coming here within the next couple of weeks never thought they would be indoors. They never thought they would be indoors. Victor texted us last week because there's been some folks we've allowed to tour the site to see where they're going to come. And one lady broke down in tears because many of these folks have felt hopeless. They did not think they would ever see indoors. And so we are restoring a sense of hope to move them from the street into this place, but also with all of the case management and housing navigation support. And you heard about some of the long-term housing coming online. We hope to restore a sense of hope that they will one day hold the keys to their own place once they move from here. And then we want to restore a sense of emotional, mental, and physical health, because as you know, it's traumatic living on the street. And so we'll have a litany of services here, including expressive arts, case management, life skills, recreational things. We have one of our health partners, Central City Community Health Clinic, that's going to be here at least twice a month providing primary health care on site. We'll have a clinician providing services on site. And so we care about the whole person, because again, for us, yes, we need to keep it safe, a safe and clean space for people to live, but really ultimately we want people restored when they walk out of here. And then finally, we want to restore a sense of community collaboration specifically for the people that are here. And so I know, raise your hand if you live in this area, you live, work, and worship in this area. So we know we have the neighborhood councils, we have our churches that have reached out, we have just concerned citizens that are here. And so as we launch this thing, we really want to work and collaborate. And the bus crew over there, wave your hands. You've had so many people reach out to us, and so we want to restore a sense of community collaboration and really show that we're in this thing together. No, it's not perfect. Yes, some folks have a lot of challenges, but that's why we're here, to rally around them and help restore them. So thank you so much. Don't let this be the last time you're here. We appreciate all support that you can give us, and I hope you love what you see, because we think it's beautiful and we're proud of it. Thank you.
One more time for Veronica Lewis.
Our final speaker needs an introduction, too. I don't want that to be overlooked. He is beloved in this community. He has an extraordinary staff. He is a can-do person. He is your council member, and we literally would not be here today if he hadn't identified this property, said, let's move now, follow this, kick some butt with departments, made it happen. Please welcome your council member, Marqueece Harris-Dawson.
All right. Thank you so much. So, we think the message has been sent. I think everything that needs to be said has been said. It just hasn't been said by everybody. So here I go. No, really what I want to say is thank you to everybody who made this a reality. It is not an easy thing at all to get a project done in this city in the way that we did. We had folks working double shifts here, 6 days a week. Every hour of the day that I drive by, there were actually people here doing work so that we could have a groundbreaking literally less than 5 months ago and be opening up a place today. So a big round of applause to the men and women that worked here. And our neighborhood leaders, I can't say enough about them. They actually have their neighborhood meeting right across the street, the neighborhood council meeting right across the street. And when you heard in the media a lot of communities screaming, no, 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 this neighborhood council was quietly yes, and how can we be helpful? And so let's give them a big round of applause for that. And we've got folks from surrounding neighborhood councils as well that have rallied around, because we've said to South LA, this is our first bridge home shelter, so we have to show everybody that it can work. Something I'm very, very inspired by as well, there between Gage and Florence on Western Avenue, we've got about a dozen churches. I used to belong to one of them. My daddy used to be the preacher at one of them, so I know them well. We reached out to them, led by Mount Tabor. Let's give our Commissioner Knopflin, a big round of applause. We reached out to them and we said, it's not enough that we build a shelter and we move people in it. They have to be connected to the community. We can't let people be disconnected, because if people are really going to be restored, they're restored in the context of community. And so we need you to assertively connect with the people that'll be here. And each one of those congregations have stepped up. Sermon on the Mount, Ephesus, Mount Tabor, and a host of other churches have stepped up. And so we appreciate them for that. We have I call them the bosses at the city that, you know, after the elected officials say this is going to happen, there are people that make sure it actually happens. And so we have our CAO here, Rich Llewellyn. Let's give him a big round of applause. And we've got the CLA's office represented as well.
Yeah.
I saw her. Where's Val? Okay. I'm going to call her out later. So, there are a host of other people to thank, but we want to close our program right here, right now. We invite everybody to tour the facilities, become familiar with the facilities. This is not a thing where we can just have a party today, turn our backs, and wipe our hands. We have to engage with this facility, and we have to engage with the community of neighbors that will live here with us. And so thank you all for being here, and thank you for joining us in the battle to end homelessness in the city of Los Angeles. Now, we'll ask our mayor to come forward and share a few words in Spanish.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's give it up again for Marqueece, Harris-Dawson. A couple other thank yous as well. And my apologies, I didn't do Spanish before, to our Spanish press that's here. We also, Gary Lee Moore from Bureau of Engineering, Alan Calagucci, Marina Quinones, Stephen Lane, our architect, to Tony Royster, who heads up GSD, Tom Bylard, Jeff Rosas, Charlie Polaris, all the construction workers, our Bureau of Contract Administration. Those are the folks that were actually here all the time. So give them a round of applause as well. Finalmente, en español, yo quiero decir unas palabras. Estamos aquí hoy para la gran apertura de Bread Yard en St. Andrews, donde habrán 100 camas para la gente que está saliendo en las calles y hacia un hogar permanente. Mi familia es del sur de Los Ángeles. Mi abuelo y mi abuela fueron inmigrantes aquí en este vecindario. Y la oportunidad en el sur de Los Ángeles debe existir para toda la gente, incluyendo ellos en nuestras calles. Este hogar intermedio transformará la vida de los angelinos y va a fortalecer nuestra ciudad. Y gracias a la comunidad, las iglesias, gracias a los vecinos, los negocios, porque hay una colisión con este gran concejal, Marqueece Harris-Dawson. Juntos nosotros somos muy fuertes, y para el verano próximo habrán casi 2,000 nuevas camas en 26 albergos del programa Puente a Casa. La ciudad, el condado, los constructores y los proveedores de servicios están trabajando muy duro, no solamente a reducir la indigencia en Los Ángeles, pero a parar la indigencia en Los Ángeles finalmente. Felicidades, muchísimas gracias, and with that, I think we truly are done. Thanks so much.